Cool. So, hello everybody. We are here for another waste of links, 7 ways to software development, and I have the pleasure to be here with Marek, the engineer manager of Marketplace Core and Marketplace Growth, and he's gonna tell us a little bit more about one of the wastes that is the mood tasking. So, thank you, Marek, to be here. So, uh, I'm going to start asking you what it's all about. What is multitasking? So, why this is a waste? So, can you give us a brief explanation about that?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Israel. So the way I see multitasking and how it can be a waste and how it often is a waste is really at two levels. Is at an individual level. So it's for people working on, say, a given piece of deliverable, but it could also be at the team level. So really I want to kind of explore it from the two angles. So at an individual level, of course, and particularly when we're talking about engineers, but I think it affects other people as well in the team. But particularly thinking about engineers, they often come with feedback saying, "Hey, I need time to like get in the flow and get stuff done and really have that focus. And when something else comes in, when another request comes in, when something unexpected happens, I need to step away from it." And that stepping away and then coming back to your original flow is where a lot of time is wasted. Now, it's a question, of course, on balancing of not interrupting versus being helpful to each other, because obviously helping other people can reduce waste on their time, but of course, like originally, that one individual is affected by the waste. On the team side of things, multitasking is really about whether we can stick to our priority and get something out in a relatively short time, so that we don't waste time on after several weeks something has changed and we need to go back to the drawing board and come to it again. Like, finish things, see how they perform, and then you can iterate on it, right? But otherwise, we just talk a lot about iterations, but nothing is testable. So that's also something that I kind of, maybe it's not as a clear cut as the individual. It's not as clear cut as the individual case, but I always think about it as a waste for multitasking as a team as well.
Cool. In Kanban, we have something that we like to. It's like a sentence we always say that is stop starting, start finishing. Sometimes we are dealing with many things. We're like running many dishes, and everything we started is a cost, and everything we deliver is like a revenue. It's like just a metaphor to understand. If we are dealing with many things at the same time, we are running dishes of costs, and we are not getting any revenue. So, yeah, that's very interesting. And for the second question, I want to ask you to instantiate it a little bit more, giving us real world examples that you found in Twitter, or you can find in Twitter sometimes. So
yeah, so thinking about examples, I think a lot of the time we see this in the marketplace core team. I think it's something that was happening in the past, and again, it's how we prioritize things, and I don't want to be pinpointing any
Hmm.
team in a negative way, but we had quite a few requests back kind of halfway point through last year, where we didn't have very well coordinated prioritization together with the Martech and marketing
Hmm.
teams. And there was a conversation about birthday landing page, something that's actually coming back as a
Hmm.
topic for discount flows.
Yeah.
But back in the day, I remember exactly that the team had a few things already in flight, and those started coming as it's super
Yeah.
urgent. We really need to prioritize. We also have been working with an external party to deliver part of this project, and that was really disrupting the flow of the team. We then did the
Hmm.
work, and it was when Donato started really getting involved. He was like,
True.
I myself have been fairly new to the team, and Donato was even fresher in that. Like, we started coordinating much better with Daria and Sarah on priorities and arranging that. So it was all fixable. But that was very much the issue that I've observed, and it does still happen. But I think that was a big
Yeah.
example of that. Of course, sometimes things which haven't been properly tidied up after like a bigger release can also
Hmm.
introduce that kind of multitasking. We had that recently with the gift cards. Gift card they had a very hard deadline. The rework for mobile apps in the core team, because it was Christmas and
Yeah.
Christmas and New Year's season. That caused a few tasks to be left over, so we struggled with picking up new work, which also on the loyalty cancellation stuff,
Yeah.
because there were still bits and pieces that we had to do on the gift cards parts. So it was almost hampering us picking up extra
Yeah.
elements, and once we did, it was kind of jump a bit here, jump a bit there. Again, that kind of we couldn't fully get going with the next thing, because of that, because of something still kind of
Yeah.
reappearing from a previous delivery.
Cool. Thank you for sharing real world experience. It's really good to see it happening. And now I'm going to ask you to give us some tips to avoid to get into this trap of these waste.
Yeah, so I guess two aspects. Like one of them I mentioned, it was another example of another example of working or arranging how we work with other teams that are dependent on
Mhm.
us. With this example of the discount, of the birthday discount kind of landing page, which was the first step in the broader
Mhm.
story. Um, that was really establishing better prioritization. So
Yeah.
working with the people who are almost like our stakeholders, right, in better
Yeah.
prioritization. So, and obviously that's a much more textbook answer of better
Yeah. Yeah.
prioritization, right? But at the same time, what we've done recently, inspired actually by what Federico has been doing in the growth team, we've done the same thing in the marketplace core team. Every week we start the week with a like one pager of
Yeah.
these are our priorities for the week, and if anything deviates from those priorities, then we have to have a discussion first before picking things up, and we call this out also at our stand-ups. So this has really helped kind of focus us and have a clear understanding of what are the things we need to focus on this week, and it reduces the number of things like coming in randomly. They still do, unfortunately,
Yeah.
every now and again, but we see much less of that. So that's kind of tip 2. Tip 3 is, and this is something that there is always a bit of a struggle around, but it's unavoidable to have some requests coming in. So rather than like defending yourself and saying no, we're not going to accept anything else, like build that level of acceptance into your planning and say, hey, there's a time for things which we shouldn't be multitasking on, and there is also some time where we can be more reactive and deal with things, and particularly in Kanban, right? Because in Scrum, I guess the process defends you a little bit more, but then are you not too let's say rigid on this is a question, but overall I think we need to recognize the reality, and some teams are more prone to this than others, but definitely Marketplace Core is much more prone to this than say Web Growth. That there will be things coming in like during the week or whatever the time period is. So yeah, building a little bit of that into your planning and say, hey, like there are things which we just need to be able to say, okay, couple of smaller things, we still should be able to pick them up and not multitask on those, but at least we're not multitasking on our main priorities because we know, okay, something came in, we have a bit of time for that to cover it later.
Amazing. So it's saying prioritization.
Yep.
First of all, prioritization, maximize the communication around what is priority, have like the
and do it regularly.
Yeah, and say no. Sometimes you have to say, okay, it's enough, we have enough things, we're enough dishes running at the same time, and we can't so we have this ability to understand that sometimes you have. Is it true? That's the summary of that.
So as the third point, I probably wouldn't say no, although that's actually that could be a tip 4. That sometimes you do have to say no, or rather have to say not now.
Not now.
But the way I would summarize this list is really prioritize ahead and prioritize with stakeholders, then improve the communication, or make sure the communication is really good within the team, and do it at short interval. This is why we do it weekly. 3 is build into your planning the fact that there will be things coming in, so that if they do come in, they at least don't require you to multitask on your key priorities, because you have a bit of time to say, okay, we will have a bit of time for the smaller things, so we don't need to interrupt the big ones. And then the 4th thing, yes, absolutely, what you just mentioned is sometimes say not now. There are things that a good example of it is a customizable widget functionality, which Marketplace Core has been moving. It's important, but there have been much more important things that we were doing. So being able to have that conversation openly also with our stakeholders, also stakeholders being open to that conversation of, so what is the more important thing, and being accepting of us saying, hey, fine, these things are in, some things are not yet.
Cool. Marek, thank you very much for sharing the things with us. Thank you for participating on that. And we are going to have more ways to share with 312 people. And thank you very much. That's all for now. Thank you, everybody that is watching this video. And bye. See ya.
Thank you. Take care.